Good morning, guys. I hope you had a really great weekend. Um, it's starting to feel like full blown winter here, even though we still got some leaves on the trees. They're changing, but it is cold. We're supposed to have at least one day this week when the temperatures don't get out of the 30s. Um, you know, there's so much stuff I want to go over, so many different things I want to say. Number one, I just want to say thank you to all of you guys that have been booking with the tours of the Met. This has been an absolutely incredible journey for me, experience. A lot of people have already taken the tour, and a lot of people are still scheduled for upcoming ones. Know that we are getting them scheduled as quickly as we possibly can. Usually doesn't take very long. But I guess there are days whenever I go in to do this and I look around at this place around me, and if you've never been to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, it is absolutely incredible. It is like one of the most beautiful, rich, meaningful places that you can imagine. It's like a temple, or a temple made up of all temples is essentially what it is. You know, when you walk into this one building, you can stand right in front of jars that contained the Dead Sea Scrolls. One of the reasons the Dead Sea Scrolls were so important is because, you know, for quite a while you had people trying to say that, like, the Old Testament, the books of prophecy in the Old Testament, things like Daniel and Ezekiel and whatnot, that these things were too accurate to have been written beforehand, that it almost had to be like a scam, like somebody later down the road must have written these like they were written in the past. Well, whenever we discovered the Dead Sea Scrolls, we realized that is not the case. I mean, a lot of the books of the Old Testament, the ones that were found there, are in pretty much the same form that they originally were in. Doesn't mean all of the books of the Bible are there. It just means the ones that are there are really, really close, Old Testament wise, to what the original said. That's why that was so amazing a find, because it showed that what people had thought about these books for so long weren't actually true, that these were as old as they say they are. And the actual jar, it's about this big maybe, the actual jar where these things were found, you can walk up and stand in front of it. So you've got stuff connected to the Bible. You've got stuff connected to ancient Samaria. You know, right in the ancient Sumerian section right now, or in the Assyrian section, talking about Mesopotamia, they just a few days ago brought in a huge offering table to the goddess Inanna. And you can just walk right up to it. It's not even like it's in a glass. I mean, it's a huge throne, but it's not even like it's encased in glass. You can just walk right up to it. You know, the copper pegs that go at all four corners of the temple when they were getting ready to erect the temple, and they would use sacred geometry to lay out the space where it was going to be. The first step would be to put these large figures carved in copper that represent the gods in the four corners of this temple area. Those are right there in the temple. They have turned the museum into a Sumerian temple, into an Egyptian temple, into a Buddhist temple, into a Hindu temple, into, you know, there's so much in there that ties into Judaism and Christianity and Rosicrucianism. This building is literally a house for holy artifacts for every spiritual tradition in the world that has ever existed since the dawn of mankind. And we have access to it. You know, I walk in there sometimes and I look around me and I think, this is my office. This is where I get to work. I did magic about a year ago, and I said, let me be surrounded with beautiful, meaningful, rich, fine things. Let that be my job. Let that be my work. Let that be what my life consists of. Let my life happen in the midst of beauty that I can't even articulate. That's what I did magic for. And sometimes now when I walk into the Met, I look around and I realize this is how it manifested. This is how it came to pass. I get to spend my days telling people about magic in the midst of my temple. It is beyond incredible. So I just want to say thank you guys for doing this with me. Those of you who have already done it, those of you who are getting ready to do it with me, I'm very, very excited for the opportunity to get to do this with you. And we're going to get there very soon. I had other things I wanted to talk about today, just, about actually doing magic. But I'm eating up a lot of time with this. One thing I want to say is that I am kind of conducting this as an old school mystery school tradition. And in the mystery school, when you receive initiation, you receive two things. One is information, and two are practical ways to make use of that information in your life. Those are the two things that I try to pass to each person when we go into the Met. At least one actual technique to do magic, as well as the history of how all this ties together and brings us to where we are now and where we're going in the future, into the new eon. I love you guys. I hope you have a very good day, and I will talk to you back here first thing tomorrow.